And that's one of the things that Tiger has talked about a lot is my golf swing's really core driven. Well, what does that really mean? Because the muscles in my core, you kind of think of your abs and your obliques and all that kind of stuff, but it's really, the muscles are, of course, they're involved. But when you think about it as stretching one fascial line, it makes so much more sense why you would get into side bend. Because I'm not trying to get into side bend and contract these muscles on the left side of my body per se. I'm trying to lengthen that fascia from my right shoulder to my left big toe. So then what do we do from there? All it is from there is unwinding, letting that go. So one of the things that Tiger's lower body movement has always looked better than everybody else's, in my opinion. It's always looked really smooth, somehow powerful and fast, but it doesn't look like he's pushing really hard. It doesn't look like he's pulling really hard. What is he really doing? And we're going to look at it in just a moment, because I'm going to show you a drill that he's doing that's going to help you understand and visualize this a little bit better. What I believe that Tiger's doing, and what I want you to feel, once you stretch that right shoulder back, all you're going to do is let that start to unwind. Now, if you're doing that correctly, starting to drive that trail shoulder back down toward the ball, what are you going to do on the trail side? I automatically went into side bend. So for those of you that are struggling how to get your arms back into GDP, it's not really your arm that's doing it. Of course, the arm's involved. But if you try to go to the top and you don't get this trail shoulder back to get that shoulder fired, and you just kind of lift your arms, which is, again, Craig and I were talking about it on our call yesterday, discussing what we saw a lot last week in the first session, is that this left arm pushes across the body, the right arm folds really early, and now, again, I'm exaggerating, but my trail shoulder never has to move. So I never open up my chest and pull that right shoulder back. Instead, I kind of keep it cramped, because this right arm kind of acts like a piston in the golf swing when it's used correctly. If my right arm stays straight, it helps drive that right shoulder and shoulder blade back, which helps stretch and open up this side of my body, which is what we were talking about last week. As the shoulder's going back, I'm stretching this part of my core so then it can then snap. So your hips are there to support that move when you're looking at doing it the way that I believe Tiger's doing it. So rather than thinking about turning my hips, what I'm doing is creating a stable anchored base, stretching this, and then firing it as quickly as I can, or it's going to happen very, very quickly, and then simply letting the club release from there. So now let's take a quick look at Tiger doing some movements that are going to help you visualize this a little bit better. So the first one is Tiger doing a little drill on the driving range. And one thing you're going to notice is that as he goes back, Tiger's always kept his arms super straight for super long in the swing. And he's never looked like he's fought to do that. It doesn't look like he's fighting his arms folding. He looks relaxed, yet they're straight. Now, obviously it takes some muscular tension to do that. But if the movement was coming from the arms, that right arm would always fight to fold. And then it would also want the club to go inside. Here you can see him taking his thumb off the club. That's how relaxed his grip is there at that point. He's trying not to put a lot of pressure into that grip with his right hand yet. And then from here, his arms basically just let the club go up. But notice how steep his shoulders are at this point. His right shoulder from setup has basically just gone more or less straight up. What he's going to feel. So now if we kind of draw some simple lines here. So imagine there was that rubber band that I was just using, that red band attached to the back of my trail shoulder, and that fascial line's going back across the front of my body. It's going into the inside of my core, down this leg, and into my big toe. The more that I pull this shoulder back and up a little bit to steepen it, the more that I'm going to stretch that fascial line. And then that's going to let everything start to fire on the way down. So here you'll see some interesting movement on how Tiger's moving his hips, the way he thinks about what he's trying to do. You'll actually see that he's not trying to get hard onto that left side. And that's what a lot of tour pros do nowadays, because they're big rotators. Tiger never did that. What he did is try to stay back a bit more, and you're actually going to see him do a drill where he's actually correcting himself. So here, right there, you see that? He's actually he's showing what it would feel like to kind of sit harder onto that lead side. And then he's like, nope, that's not what I want to feel. I want to stay back here, and you'll see his right heel coming up off the ground, and he's staying back and letting his hip open up. His arms look totally relaxed. They're not doing anything. He's getting that shoulder back, and that's what's giving room for the arms. I'm going to play this through just one more time and play the whole swing here. And look at how smooth and effortless this swing is. Nothing in it. Now I'm going to play the whole thing really quickly, let the whole thing go, and just watch him do this movement, and then I'm going to walk you through how to feel this. He's getting hard into that right leg there, letting the left leg get pulled back. Now the left hip is moving straight back, doesn't want to get onto the lead side. Stay back and go. He's going to do it one more time. Right shoulder up. And a smooth, effortless swing.